Welcome to session 11 of PHS 318, which is titled The Concept of Collaborative Governance. In this session, we will seek to explain collaboration and collaborative processes, and then we'll also seek to identify and explain the various dimensions of collaboration. So let's begin with objective number 1, explaining collaboration and collaborative processes. At the fundamental level, collaboration management describes the processes of facilitating working within and among multi-level organizational arrangements to solve public issues. It is important for me to make the point that at the heart or the premise of collaboration is that no single agency has the strength or the resources to be able to solve all our public problems alone. Therefore, given the multiplicity of our problems, as well as the depth and scale and the complexity involved in public problems, there is a need for organizations to come together to be able to build synergy, bring on board their different resources. That could be in the form of monetary or non-monetary, to be able to solve the problems that confront us as a society. This is the reason why organizations are forced to come together, because left on their own, they will not be able to solve our problems alone. Collaborative management is built on the premise that the scale and complexity of the challenges that confront modern bureaucracies can hardly, if any, be solved by a single organization. This is the points that I made earlier. There are some definitions that are worth considering in terms of collaboration. 1, collaboration is the act or process of shared creation or discovery. It involves the creation of new value by doing something new or different. Per this definition, we learn that collaboration is a process, and that collaboration also means that we have to do something new. Doing something new requires the need for the fact that we cannot maintain the status quo and still be able to solve our problems. Albert Einstein is noted to have said that we cannot solve the problems with the same mind that created them. Therefore, in order to be able to solve the problems given their complexity, we have to be able to do something new towards dealing with the problems that confront us. Another definition of collaboration is that collaboration is a process in which autonomous actors interact through formal and informal negotiation, jointly creating rules and structures governing their relationship and ways to act or decide on the issues that brought them together. It is a process that involves shared norms and mutually beneficial interactions. Obviously, this is a very packed definition, and so I'm going to point out a few things that are worth knowing. For example, we say that collaboration involves autonomous actors. In other words, the actors that come together to embark on a collaborative effort are independent in their own right. They do not necessarily depend on each other, but they come together to depend on each other because there's a problem that confronts all of them. And the channels through which these organizations operate can be both formal and informal. And then there's a need to also bear in mind that on the basis of this definition, the organizations that come together have to create rules in order to govern their relationship. Otherwise, there will be chaos. These definitions imply the following: that collaboration is an iterative cyclical process, rather than a linear one. In other words, collaboration is not a one-time, it's not a linear thing. It is sort of a give and take that happens between and among organizations. That collaboration evolves over time as parties or actors interact with each other. In other words, collaboration does not happen overnight. It takes time for organizations to build synergy, to come together in order to solve the problems that confront society. That parties to a collaborative arrangement are autonomous or independent in their own right. There are 5 dimensions of collaboration as proposed by Thompson, which are discussed as follows. Governance dimension. The idea of governance in collaboration requires parties in the process to jointly make rules that would guide their behavior and actions. As I mentioned to you, collaboration requires that autonomous agencies will come together to solve the problems. And in order for their relationship to work, there is a need for rules to guide that kind of relationship so that they can all be checked, so that in order to be able to achieve their objectives. On this basis, the rules are made by them and they check each other to make sure that they are all in line. The administrative dimension. The need for this dimension rests on the need for structures within collaborative arrangements to implement the goals that participants set for themselves. Therefore, it is not just enough to come together. It is not enough to create rules. It is important for relevant structures to be created so that the goals that they set for themselves in such an arrangement can be achieved. This suggests the need for clear roles and responsibilities, obedience to laws, presence of achievable goals, as well as effective communication. The autonomy dimension. This dimension carries the notion that parties to collaborative arrangements share a dual identity. They maintain their own distinct identities and organizational authority separate from the collaborative identity. Per their organizational identity, they tend to be self-interested. They are concerned about what happens to them. And each time that there is any tension between their self-interest as well as their collective interest, there is bound to be chaos unless this is balanced in a very careful manner. The mutuality dimension. Information sharing in collaborative arrangement is not enough unless partners can derive mutual benefits. Therefore, if partners come together and they do not see the benefits, they are likely to leave. Mutuality is rooted in interdependence and calls for complementarities. The other dimension is the idea of reciprocity in collaborative arrangements, which hinges on the fact that parties view each other's willingness to interact before they make their commitment. This is known as the I will if you will mentality. For many collaboration scholars, then the chances of collective action happening is enhanced if partners in collaborative arrangements believe the other will reciprocate at another time. In conclusion, we make the following remarks: that collaboration remains an important concept in recent public management discourse because of the potential it has in solving some of the key public management challenges. That collaboration has 5 key dimensions, namely the governance dimension, the administrative dimension, the autonomy dimension, the mutuality dimension, and the trust and reciprocity dimension. With this, we come to the end of session 11. Kindly get ready as we move through to session 12.